Hey guys, we need to talk about the elephant in my room, EVH. Because in case you're not aware, EVH is owned by Fender. So in today's video, I just want to talk to you guys, ask you guys for your opinions, voice some of my opinions, and just get a conversation going, okay? Because if I'm being very honest, these two amplifiers aren't just here for me. I also got them for you guys. Anyway, for everybody who has been living under a rock, let's do a very quick recap of what has been going on in the music industry and with Fender. So Fender sent out a bunch of cease and desist letters to builders and guitar companies who are selling guitars in Europe in regards to them selling guitar shapes that are similar to the Strat, which according to Fender is infringing on their rights or their copyright. So they're basically saying the Strat body type is ours and you can't copy it and you have to destroy your inventory. You have to pay us a lot of money and all of your customers have to send back their guitars and they have to be destroyed, etc., etc. It's really ridiculous stuff. I'm not very good at articulating all that stuff, so I definitely recommend watching videos like Henning Pauli's, for example, or Philip McKnight, people who explain the situation in great detail and who are able to articulate those things much better than I am. Because I will admit, I'm very much a guy who follows his feelings, okay? I'm very impulsive and I don't think everything through properly. Not always anyway, but I do my best, okay? I do think that this is a very bad thing for the industry. If Fender would get what they want, which, you know, likely is doubtful, they're gonna destroy many people's lives, okay? So corporate greed like that is very bad. And it's just, yeah, like I said, very bad for the industry, which is bad for us and bad for people who make really wonderful instruments with much better quality than Fender has been doing. As I mentioned in another Fender video that I did last week, in which I talk about some good Fender guitar alternatives, so Strat alternatives, etc. I did mention that I used to have a bunch of Fender guitars. I've owned some Strats, I've owned some Tellys, and those were fine, but just not good enough, basically. So I got rid of all of them. And since then, I've played a bunch of guitars that are just much better quality. And I'm going to feature a couple more on the channel soon, so stay tuned for that, by the way. So I'm absolutely not condoning what Fender is doing here. I think it's a horrible act, and I hope they don't win, definitely. Now, Fender owns a bunch of other companies, in case you're not aware. They own Jackson, for example, Charvel, Gretsch, and EVH. So Fender owns EVH. EVH makes guitars and of course a bunch of EVH style amplifiers like these 5153s. These two haven't been on the channel before, so this is the first time that you're seeing these amplifiers on the channel. So the timing is a little bit horrible of me getting these amplifiers. And that's partially the reason why I wanted to have this conversation with you. So in terms of Fender, I don't have a problem with boycotting them at all. I don't think their guitars are great. Their amps aren't really for me. The Tone Master Pro is a cool device, but it's definitely not one of the better modelers out there. But when it comes to EVH, then it's a little bit more difficult for me because I'm having an interesting phase with these amplifiers. So again, the timing is just very weird for me. So I'd like to walk you through my history with EVH amplifiers, which has been interesting, and you've been able to follow it on my channel throughout the years. So one of the very first tube amplifiers that I got for this channel and to get back into the tube amplifier game was my 5153 50 watt EL34. That must have been 9 years ago or so, roughly, because this channel has been in existence for 10 years and I started with some modeler stuff. And then quickly I got into the whole tube amplifier thing. And the EVH was one of the first amplifiers that I got. It's the first one that I kept. I did recently sell it because I wanted to try some other EVH amplifiers like these two. But I had that amp for many years and it served me really well. It sounded awesome. Okay, the blue channel, you know, is a bit flubby and thick. It's the only EVH that does that, which I liked. It made it more unique. The red channel, soaring high gain, to die for. Clean channel was fine, but you know, especially the red channel was a great channel. Then some years ago, I guess 3 to 5 years ago, I don't remember exactly, I bought myself a 50 watt 6L6 5153, the ivory one. And I had fun with that amplifier. I did a review where I was very positive about it. I really loved the amplifier. I also did a comparison of that versus the EL3450 watt. But the amp ended up breaking twice, and I made a video about that, about how I felt about the amp breaking twice and why I sent it back and reliability and all that stuff. Because I do want to be honest and transparent on this channel, and I made such a raving positive review, I felt like I left out an important part. That's why I made that dedicated video talking about, possible quality control issues with those amplifiers. Alongside that, I also have the LBX1, by the way, which is a killer little lunchbox amplifier. But after the whole debacle of the 6L6 50 watt breaking, I decided to have a little EVH break. I just didn't feel really good about the quality control of those amplifiers. Okay. Then I did a video a couple months ago where I asked a bunch of fellow YouTubers what their desert island amplifiers were. And a lot of people ended up saying the EVH 5153, whether it was the 50 watt Stealth, the 100 watt Stealth, or the 100 Ivory, or whatever. A lot of people were raving about those amplifiers, and it made me realize, like, I need to try some more EVH amps because, a lot of people love them. I love my EL3450 watt, which I still had back then. So I decided to reach out to EVH to see if they would send me a 100 watt, which they did. They sent me the Ivory 6L6 100 watt amp. It's in my rack back there. And I reviewed that amplifier. It's a really good amp. It's probably the most mellow sounding of the 100 watt heads, but it's great. I love it a lot, right? I also filmed a video where I compare it to the LBX1, by the way, which I could release soon. It's already shot, edited, it's already done. Anyway, that gave me gas. I wanted to try the 100 watt amps, the other versions, so the EL34 Stealth and the 100 watt Stealth. And I decided to invest in those amplifiers myself just because, I would be able to make content for you guys and enjoy it myself because I still love gear despite doing this for a living. I'm just a gear head. It never gets boring to me. And it reminds me a lot of how I started this channel. Just buying some gear and being really excited about that. This really reignited that feeling for me of why I started this channel out and everything. So I got the 50 watt Stealth 5153, which I did a full review on. Really enjoyed that amplifier a lot. It's back there somewhere. And I also invested in these two suckers. This is the 5153 Stealth EL34, massive head. And this is the 5153 6L6 Stealth. They're quite similar actually, but they are both killer. Okay, really cool amplifiers. So I bought these myself, again, for my own pleasure, but also for you guys, so I could make a bunch of content with these because apparently a lot of people love these amplifiers, duh. But now with the whole Fender debacle, it made me think like, crap, what should I do now? I don't really feel comfortable with promoting Fender. Does that mean that I can also not use stuff by EVH on the channel anymore? That was difficult for me because I just really am very excited about these amplifiers. And just for me personally, if we were to put the whole Fender thing aside, these things make me very happy and very excited. Again, that's why I started this channel out. But there were some people in the comments of my Fender guitars video where they said like, yeah, you also shouldn't use EVH anymore. So I started asking some of my YouTuber friends, like, what would you do? And they were like, well, I think you can just keep on using EVH amps because you like them, which is very fair. But I decided to just ask you guys about this as well. I love these amps, so I'm not going to send these back. I'm going to keep them, at least for a good while, and have fun with these. But I'd rather do that on the channel and share my fun with you without promoting Fender as a brand. I think in the case of EVH, the fact that it's Eddie's legacy makes it a bit more difficult as well, because he just seemed like a cool guy. And, he's a legendary musician, and this is his legacy when it comes to the musical industry world, the musical instruments world, also with his guitars and his son being a part of that company. I don't know the technicalities behind that and everything, but, it's a company that is run by some cool people as far as I'm aware. And it's not like everybody at Fender is now evil or something like that. It's like the big corporate people up top who are ruining it for everybody. You know, there are, I imagine, thousands of people working for Fender right now who are just good people trying to do their job. And the corporate people are making it more difficult for them as well. So it's just a bad situation overall. And it made me feel a little bit awkward about investing a bunch of money in some amplifiers that are, you know, owned by Fender, essentially. So I gave Fender some money right before all of this happened. All of that aside, I'm very happy with these amplifiers. I hope you guys are happy too that I got these amplifiers. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What should I do? Should I put a disclaimer up on the screen where I say that I don't support Fender anymore, but that I just wanted to feature these amplifiers because we love them? I do recommend, if you're in the market for an amp like this, why not check the used market and maybe not buy direct, but buy through a good store, because, you know, a lot of stores have inventory that they're going to need to sell, and we don't want the guitar stores to go bankrupt and stuff like that, right? I know that I won't find a way to go about this that everybody will agree with. You know, that's a fact. If I decide to use these things on the channel, some people will or might get mad for me promoting Fender, if you will. If I don't use them, a lot of people who simply love these amplifiers like me will miss out on content that explores the sound of these wonderful amplifiers, in which Eddie played a huge part. You know, again, it's his legacy when it comes to the world of tube amplifiers. Do we want that to go to waste just because some stupid corporate decisions, or not? That is the question. I'm definitely leaning towards using these things on the channel whenever I want. It's my channel after all. I invested my money into these things and I like nice things, but maybe I won't do like a full review or something. I'm just not sure. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. I'd love to know your opinions. It's important to me. Again, I also bought these things for you guys, so I don't want this money to go to waste, basically. And just to be clear, I don't care what other people do. You know, I'm not judgmental about people still buying a Fender guitar or a Jackson guitar or whatever. You know, in the end, you buy something because you want it and it makes you happy, and that's important. Of course, it is good to be aware of the fact that there are other smaller brands out there run by very good people who do make guitars that are, you know, of better quality, especially for the price than Fender are doing right now. And I do think that we need to send a signal to them that we definitely don't agree with this behavior. Of course, that's what makes this a little bit more complicated for me in my position, since I just invested a bunch of money into these amplifiers. So yeah, I want to know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Also, please hit the like and subscribe buttons, as that really helps out the channel. I'd really appreciate it. Check out my affiliate links. Check out my website if you want to support this channel, and I hope to see you guys very soon. Thank you so much for listening to my random rant. Bye, guys.